So, the most anticipated movie for this year, 2022, came out on the 1st of January 2022, obviously. Chief Daddy 2 Going for Broke. And I just did another rewatch, and it was absolutely amazing. Psych! That movie is terrible. It was terrible as heck. Or am I allowed to swear on YouTube? First of all, spoiler alert in case you are somehow watching a video of a review of a movie that you've not watched, because wow. Now, so for those of you that saw the movie already, you probably thought it was terrible, as do I. But then I'm just here to enunciate your thoughts and help you put some of those feelings into words, if that makes any sense. So here are a couple of reasons why that movie sucked. So number one, there was obviously no need for a Chief Daddy 2. If you've seen Chief Daddy 1, and I know, yes, they kind of hinted at it in the end and put like that cliffhanger, but then if you had seen Chief Daddy 1, it's not a movie that you really, really want to see a Chief Daddy 2. In the sense, wait, hear me out. In the sense that it's not a story that begs for you to see what happens next. The reason why a bunch of us were excited about watching Chief Daddy 2 was because we watched Chief Daddy 1 and it was fun. Right? And so we were like, you know what, maybe Chief Daddy 2 is going to be fun. Well, it was not. If you watch a bunch of Nigerian movies, we don't really do well with twos. When we did Merry Men 2, first of all, Merry Men 1 was laughable. Merry Men 2 was like, wow. Like, why? Like, why are you... You know what? This movie makes Merry Men 2 look like a good... I'm going to rewatch Merry Men 2 now because I probably will love it. Now my standards for new good movies have probably dropped, right? And then we had Wedding Party 2, which obviously, isn't as good as Wedding Party 1. We had, I think the only movie that I kind of liked that is like basically a 2 would be Quam's Money. But then if you really go into it, Quam's Money was a spin-off of New Money. And then so it's not following the same story, it's not following the same characters. Wedding Party, what's her name? Kemi Adetiba's King of Boys. King of Boys 2, I don't think personally, don't shoot me, don't shoot the messenger. I don't think King of Boys 2 was as good as King of Boys, the movie 1, right? And so we don't do good 2s well in Nigeria. Like the only times when we used to have part 2 of a movie being nice was when we used to have those discs that have part A and part B, and then you had to buy like 5 of them to be able to watch any movie. And then part 1 would just stop when she's just talking, like mid-conversation. She'll be like, how are... And then part 2 will start from you. Those were the only times when we used to have 2s that really mattered. Everywhere in Hollywood, happens everywhere in the world, where most movies, like they do a 1 and then they do a 2, and you're like, why are they even doing a 2? Like, this is terrible. And then I think it boils down to preparation before they made the movie. I think movies like Harry Potter, and I'm going to use a bunch of Harry Potter references when I'm doing this because I literally just saw Fantastic Beasts like 15 seconds ago, so I have it in my head. But yeah, so movies like Harry Potter, it's like the movies were pre-planned before they even shot the first one. So the 2 did not just come upon them when they're like, oh, you know what, this movie is a huge box office success. Let's just make another movie and make some more money. Like Harry Potter and some other movies like The Hunger Games, like some of my personal favorites, especially like movie series. They weren't movies that just happened. They had been planned. It's one of the reasons why Game of Thrones was so successful, because apart from every other thing, it's like it was pre-planned, and that's the reason why a lot of people hate the final season of Game of Thrones. Honestly, they should have stopped at 1. So I'd be like, this was a fun ride. This movie was fun. You guys, bye. But then no, they were like, you know what? Let us make it 2, because if we make it 2, people will love it. Well, we did not, right? So bad idea, guys. Don't make it 2. For the layman, which is me and you watching, you're the layman. The plots and story, I will explain. So the story is what we are going to do. Well, so what we're talking about, basically, in the context of a movie, and then the plot is how we are talking about it or how we're going to do what we're going to do. Now, this is one thing that Chief Daddy 2 fails at. It doesn't have a story at all. Like, if you're watching the movie, you're like, what is even going on here? However, they have a lot of plots, right? There are too many plots. In fact, there is a character, Brother Shaggy's character. I do not care enough about the character to know his name. Actually, I just rewatched it, so it's in my head, Omar. Anyways, that character's life is so important that we learn that that character was in a relationship and got jilted by his ex. I don't care about some random taxi driver, right? In fact, the character is so important in this story that he becomes Fawz's best friend and becomes Linda Ejiofor's love interest. This guy is literally a taxi guy that we get introduced to in the second act of this. The movie has too many plots and plot holes, and we'll talk about plot holes later. But the biggest problem, or the second big problem with the movie, is that there is no story. There's just like a bunch of plots. It's like everything is happening. There's like plots everywhere, and then there's no story. I'll give you this quick example. A guy was walking, he took the bus, and then he came off the bus, he took another bus, and then he paid 50 TL, and then he took another bus, and he got home. That's a plot. That's sequences of events, but it doesn't make sense to you. What makes it make sense is if it's a story. If I put the fact that this is a story of a guy who is trying to make it to his wife's birth, not his wife's birth, his baby's birth, his wife is giving birth to his baby. You get the gist. Anyway, so if I put that story in it, the whole plot I just gave you makes sense, right? And that's where they lose it. So there's a lot of plots, but then there is no story. Absolutely no story. The third reason why this movie is trash is pacing, right? So when I was watching this movie, one of my friends was watching Arsenal versus Man City, and then he was like hyperactive, and I was like, bro, calm down. Anything that is happening in this whole game you're watching cannot be almost as exciting as what's happening in this movie, because the pacing is all over the place. I'm going to just bring in the fourth reason right now. Editing. Right? Because the pacing and the editing are terrible and in sync in how bad they are. So what happens is we are literally running 100-meter sprint. We are just running up and down. It's like we're in Dubai, now we're in Lagos, now we're in London, now we're in, oh my God, where are we? Yes, Dubai. Oh my God, yes, and now we're with Famzi and his girlfriend and Dami Baggio, and who else? Sissy and Kate Henshaw and Funke Akindele. Oh my God, they're having an issue. Calm down. If you've ever seen Harry Potter, there's this thing they do when they want to move from a place to a place. It's called apparition. Right? They apparate, they film, and they go. Exactly, that was whoever edited this movie just saw Harry Potter last week. I was like, oh my God, this would be a nice transition. Let me put it. All that happens is they do film, and then the next thing, after the movie, I was sweating. I mean, you can probably see me because I just rewatched it, and there's a little bit of sweat. 5. For anybody that watches football that had to go through that movie, I don't know why I keep pointing to the back. I mean, there's technically like something there, but anybody that watches football and had to go through that, I am very, very sorry, because the amount of inaccuracies that were there were shocking. I am pretty sure the guy that plays Dami Baggio, I know his name, but I'm not going to say it now because I'm upset. You can obviously hear from my venting. I am very upset because I rewatched it and I thought maybe if I rewatch this movie, it won't be as bad as the first time. But guess what? Exactly. Sucks. First of all, the injury that he had, I hope I can put the video here and then it doesn't affect like copyright or something, but that's the worst injury I have seen in my entire life. And then for some reason he is out for this. It's a career threatening injury. All of us play football. I mean, all of us, but you get what I mean. You have seen bad injuries, like you watch a game and then you see Luke Shaw break his leg and you're like, oh my God. Luke Shaw was Sorry, the Yoruba was almost coming out. Luke Shaw was out for 260 something days. This guy is going to be out for a year because some guy kicked. He didn't even kick his leg, they literally romanced each other's legs. For some reason, he gets injured, and then what happens? He goes to one quack doctor that tells him you're out for the season, and then his club in, guess what? His club, Royal Manchester, is in London. But okay. We're going to accept them because people make mistakes, right? So, e.g., you can be watching an American movie and see Kaduna United based in Lagos because Manchester, for some reason, moved last night and is now in London. His club would just leave him for some reason. You're injured. Flex in Dubai. Like all of us, all 150 something million of us that do watch football, that's my assumption, people that watch football in Nigeria, by the way, do not understand how it actually works in the real world, right? Also, did they for any reason explain to us how what's her name? I can't remember her name for the life of me. But then, say in the movie, she's Lila for some reason. I know her real name because she was literally schooling in EMU, and then for some reason I forgot her name now. Did they for any reason explain to us in, I don't want to say in-depth because obviously they have proven to us that they can't do anything in-depth, but then to a shallow level, what is going on in that family? Like with the money and stuff. I know there's an IPO. First of all, sorry guys, I'm not really good with accounting. I don't know what an IPO is. I researched it and then I found out that it's like, I don't know, it's like when you privatize your company or something and people can buy stock or something like that. And then so I think basically what happened is the fact that she could buy stock and became majority shareholder and then owns the company basically. Does it make sense? I don't know, right? But my point is, we were not explained to, at least people like me that do not understand accounting. So what I'm just seeing is some random girl saying, I'm not giving you money with no reason. We know the reason, she's wicked, right? Like, she's a bad guy. But then no reason to my head as to why she can hold the money. And then guess what? The lawyer was supposed to help me, the layman, say, you know what? This is legal, but it's not fair. Who cares about... Israel, the creator, he has this hierarchy of people that like demonic kingdom hierarchy, and then he perfectly puts the writers of Chief Daddy 2 in the right place, just below Lucifer, like two places below Lucifer, because they probably deserve to be there, because these characters were poorly written. In fact, I am sure these characters weren't written. In my head, I'm imagining how the writing session for this movie went, right? So the lead script writer, I assume there were more than one writers in this movie, just went, they had like this long table, conference table, all of them were sipping vodka, because obviously they were drunk when they wrote this, but then all of them sitting down, sipping vodka, and then she says these words, these exact words, guys, let's write Chief Daddy 2, but let's bring ideas. There are no bad ideas. And then she took out a pen and a piece of paper, and then she wrote everything someone said, like someone randomly just said, you know what, let's make a radio DJ have a video podcast. Dami Bajo is a terrible character. I don't want to ever see him, and I mean not the guy, Dami Bajo himself. I don't want to ever see him anywhere close to football in my entire life. His girlfriend, Ada, she's also a very poorly written character. Their relationship is a very poorly written relationship. It's non-existent. They don't look like they are friends. Not talk of people that want to marry. At best, they've seen each other once. They don't look like acquaintances. And then Fowles has this relationship with his girlfriend who is also poorly written, because if you listen to what she's saying, she sounds like she's materialistic, but then apparently she loves him. And then when they're trying to pitch a relationship between Fowles and Sisi, because she was jealous for a bit, but then Sisi just fell in love with some random taxi driver that she saw in Dubai because his name is Omar and he dyed top of his hair. Oh my God, Kate Henshaw and Funke Akindele want to have a threesome with some random lawyer who for some reason has money to give them everything they want without any backstory. That lawyer is poorly written. Well, these are very shallow characters, so when they try to delve in deeper, we just got confused because I don't understand why Funke Akindele wants to have a threesome with her. What in the Alabama was going on there? I mean, the movie feels like a montage. So I initially recorded my definition of what a montage is, but then I figured you're likely to want to listen to a professional define it. So here is montage defined by a professional.
What is montage in films? Montage is a film editing technique in which a series of shots are compiled for a meaningful narration.
That's how the plot, pacing, and editing of this movie feels like. It feels like 1-2 hour-ish montage where we are just seeing bam, 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 action. I imagine in my head that when you read the script for this movie, it's action, 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 a little dialogue that really doesn't take the story anywhere. Action, 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 a little dialogue, action, action. We needed to enjoy a scene. If you were watching a scene in this movie and you went out to, very good example, drink water, by the time you came back, Fowles would have been married with 4 kids. Exactly, that's how it was. Everything is fast. There's this movie, can't remember the title. These people go into a cave, they come out, and then if you go into the cave, there are like deeper layers to the cave, but then time moves differently in the cave, and then they spend years, and then some people spend decades, and then millennials. Exactly, that's how fast this movie is. If you go to the toilet for a little minute or half a second, by the time you come back, Fowles would be dead. So I don't want to seem like an angry person. I mean, I'm not, if you know me, I'm usually not as angry, right? But then now I'm very angry, and then you can guess why. Because I hyped up this movie. I was in church on the 31st of December 2021 with every other person. I was with the praise team. I was on stage, on the altar, but stage basically. We're leading praise and worship, and then then it was the new year, and they were shouting Happy New Year. And then one of the things that came to my head, knowing that it's a new year, was, oh my God, Chief Daddy 2 is coming out today. That's how excited I was for this movie. I was like literally at one of the highest points in your years, because it's like the amount of shout you shout on January 1st, you probably will never shout like that again, unless you're being flogged. Or you watch this movie and you're upset. And they broke my heart. They took my heart, put it in a grinder, they blended it, and we're like, this guy's heart is kind of broken. What can we do? And then they put it in trash. But they had so much money. They had so many good characters. I know how good Shafi Bello is as an actress. Joke Silva. Oh my God, Joke Silva, come on. What did you use Patience Zokwa for? You used her for a skit where Fowles tasted the poison that she puts in the food, and then it was supposed to be like a callback to the fact that Patience Zokwa is one that usually poisons food in cinema. No, it wasn't funny. And then Nkem O was the one that brought the whole plot to an end, because for some reason he had some random photo that changed the girl's mind. It wasn't funny, right? The worst thing about the movie, number 7, was that it wasn't funny, right? I hate when they do this in Nigerian movies, when they depend solely on individual characters writing funny lines for individual characters to try to push a story into being a comedy instead of just writing funny stories, right? And then I feel like the movie, for the large part of it, was trying so hard to be funny by making bright like a diamond jokes, and then the movie itself, it's a comedy, and then I think they failed at that, and then thus failed at making a good movie. So a movie like Chief Daddy, if you've seen Chief Daddy 1, it's not a movie that prides itself in its ability to hook the characters with an engaging storyline, because that's not what it is. It's a movie that is fun and enjoyable, and you just want to be in the cinema or in your house with your significant other, in my case, alone, and just watch a movie and be happy. That's exactly what you'd want to do. However, in the case of Chief Daddy 2, they may or may not have tried to elaborate on characters, thus confusing and conflicting these characters, making the movie not fun, not funny, not easy to understand. It felt like Tenet, but not. It's like you're watching Inception, but then there's no Inception. It's just the confusion of Inception. That's it. It was very confusing and. This movie was bad, Sha. This movie is really bad. It's shocking. It's shocking how bad this movie is. If you like the video for some reason, because you have weird taste, maybe you should subscribe because I may do something like this another time. If you do not like the video, maybe you should also subscribe because I may do something like this another time, and then you can see it. I'm like, this is trash. Now, if you've seen any movie and you'd like me to review it or give my breakdown or rant about it, you can comment in the comment section. Or you don't have. I mean, it's your honestly, it's your life. Do what makes you happy, right? Yeah. Peace.